On the left, a modern, minimalist desk. A person is staring blankly at a laptop, a half-finished spreadsheet on the screen. Their hand hovers over the mouse, then drifts to their phone. On the right, a dark, muddy field at dawn. A Roman legionnaire in full armor stands stoic, his breath misting in the cold air. He grips his gladius tightly. Narrator, you have a battle to fight. Right now. That report. That workout. That difficult conversation. And your brain, your own command center, is telling you to retreat. Narrator, it's a civil war in your mind, and you are losing. Narrator, now, imagine him, staring down 1,000 screaming barbarians. Do you think he waited until he felt motivated? Do you think he negotiated with himself for the perfect moment to act? Narrator, no. He had a trigger. An unbreakable signal that bypassed all debate, all fear, all laziness, a physical command that meant one thing: act. Now quick, visceral cuts, a legionnaire slamming his shield into the one next to him, forming a line, a blacksmith's hammer striking glowing steel. A legion's standard, the Aquila, being planted firmly into the ground. Narrator, procrastination isn't a character flaw. You're not lazy. You're just entering a battle without a call to arms. You're trying to think your way into action. The Romans didn't think. They trained their way into action. They had a secret, forged in the most disciplined and effective fighting force in human history. Narrator, and today, I'm going to show you how to use that same ancient secret to conquer your to-do list. This isn't another productivity hack. This is a neurological kill switch for procrastination. A single, physical action you can execute in less than a minute to shut down the debate in your head and launch into motion. This is how you kill procrastination in 56 seconds. Fade from black to an animated graphic of the human brain. The prefrontal cortex is glowing and pulsing with chaotic energy. Lines of text flash inside it. Is this really the priority? Maybe I need more coffee first. Let me just check my email. Narrator, this is your prefrontal cortex, the strategist, the planner, the long-term thinker. But when faced with a task that requires effort, it becomes a master negotiator, a traitor. It floods your mind with reasonable-sounding excuses, all designed to keep you in the safety of inaction. It wants comfort. It wants dopamine. And that spreadsheet is not it. Narrator, but a legionnaire doesn't negotiate with a traitor. He relies on a different part of his brain. The part that controls movement. The motor cortex. It doesn't understand, maybe later. It doesn't debate the optimal strategy. It understands one thing: a direct order. A physical trigger creates a neural shortcut, a command that bypasses the debate and speaks directly to the part of you that acts. Narrator, for the legionnaire, that signal was the Centurion's command, the *sheeing * of his own gladius being drawn. It was the point of no return. The moment the sword left its sheath, the debate was over. The body was already in motion. Thinking was a liability. Training took over. We are going to build your point of no return. Narrator, here is your new protocol, your personal call to arms. It has 4 phases. It will take you exactly 56 seconds. Narrator, first, the Centurion's command. You have 10 seconds. You will not think about the task. You will give yourself a direct order. Out loud. Not, I should probably work on that report, but a legionnaire's command: I will open the document and write 1 paragraph. Make it specific. Make it small. Make it an order, not a suggestion. Text on screen 2. The helmet, 10 seconds. Narrator, second. The helmet. 10 seconds. Before battle, a legionnaire would put on his helmet. A simple act that sealed him off from the world and focused him on the fight. You need a physical trigger that does the same. It can be anything, but it must be the same thing every time. Clench your right fist. Stand up and stretch. Take a single, deep breath and hold it. This is your helmet. The physical act of preparing for war. The person at the desk takes a specific, heavy-bottomed coffee mug and moves it from the left side of their laptop to the right. A deliberate, solid placement. SFX, a satisfying, low thud. Narrator, third. The march. 30 seconds. A legion didn't sprint into a frantic charge. They marched. deliberately, in rhythm, setting a pace that was unstoppable. You will now set a timer for 30 seconds. Do not look at your task. Do not think about it. You can close your eyes. You can watch the countdown. You are simply marching toward the battle line. This 30-second gap starves the prefrontal cortex of its ability to object. The decision is made. The march has begun. Text on screen IV. The first strike 6 seconds. Narrator 4th. The first strike. The final 6 seconds. When that timer hits 0, you must, without thought or hesitation, execute the absolute smallest part of your command. This is non-negotiable. If your command was to write one paragraph, you will write the first word. If it was to go for a run, you will take the first step toward the door. This is the shield clash. The first engagement. It proves to your brain that the action has already begun. The timer on the person's phone hits 0. They immediately place their hands on the keyboard and type, "Good morning, Sarah." The drum beat climaxes and then goes silent. Narrator, that's it. 10 seconds to command. 10 seconds to put on your helmet. 30 seconds to march. 6 seconds to strike. 56 seconds from a state of complete paralysis to forward momentum. Final shots. A montage of people using the technique. A student puts on headphones, counts down, and opens a textbook. An artist taps their easel twice, counts down, and makes the first charcoal stroke. All are intercut with the image of a disciplined Roman line advancing, an unstoppable wall of shields and steel. Narrator, motivation is a myth. It's a fleeting emotion we have wrongly assigned as a prerequisite for action. The Romans knew better. Discipline is not a feeling. It is a system. A protocol, a trigger that you forge in calm, so you can rely on it in chaos. The final shot returns to the person at the desk. They are now completely absorbed in their work, typing with focus. The battle is won. The screen is no longer split. Narrator, you don't need to feel like a hero. You just need to follow the protocol of one. So, what is your battle? Give the command. Execute the trigger. The screen is black. A single, rhythmic sound of a shovel hitting dirt is heard. Thwack thwack asterisk. Narrator, but the first strike doesn't win the war. It only begins it. After the charge comes the long, grueling work. The holding of the line. Fade in on a time-lapse shot. The sun is setting over the muddy field. Hundreds of legionnaires are now working in perfect unison, digging a trench, erecting a palisade wall. It's not glorious, but it is relentless. This is the construction of a Roman marching camp, built from scratch at the end of every day's march. Narrator, did you know that after marching 20 miles in full armor, a legion was expected to build a fully fortified camp every single night? They didn't vote on it. They didn't check their energy levels. It was protocol. Because the Romans knew that victory is determined before the battle ever begins. It's determined by the environment you create. Cut to the modern desk. The person is working, but their phone on the corner of the desk lights up with a notification. Their eyes flicker towards it. The legionnaire on the split screen glances at a shadowy figure moving in the tree line beyond the camp. Narrator, your environment is your fortress, and right now, its walls are down. Those notifications, that open browser tab, the pile of clutter. They are enemy scouts, testing your defenses, waiting to break your focus. The Legionnaire's launch gets you onto the battlefield. Fortifying your position keeps you there. Narrator, before you give the command, take 2 minutes, not to work, but to prepare the ground. Turn your phone to silent and move it out of arm's reach. Close every tab not related to the mission. Clear your physical space. This isn't tidying up. This is digging your trench. It sends a clear signal to your brain. This space is now for one purpose. It is a place of battle. The person at the desk deliberately turns their phone over and slides it to the far end of the desk. They close their email client with a decisive click. The Legionnaire turns back to his work. The threat in the trees ignored. Irrelevant behind the rising fortress wall. Narrator, but what if the launch fails? What if the command is given? The timer runs out, and you still hesitate? Narrator, it means your first strike was too ambitious. You aimed for the enemy general, when you should have aimed for the front line. The goal of the first strike is not to make progress. It is to prove that movement is possible. Narrator, if write one paragraph is too much. Your command is write one sentence, if that is too much. It is open the document and type one word, if go for a 3-mile run causes you to freeze. Your command is put on running shoes and stand up, make the first strike so ridiculously small, so microscopic, that the prefrontal cortex doesn't even register it as effort. It's a feint. A Trojan horse. You are not trying to win the battle with the first stone. You are just trying to get it to leave your hand. The momentum will do the rest. Narrator, to a legion. The greatest shame was the loss of its eagle. It was more than a symbol, it was the legion's soul. Men would die to protect it, and they would march into hell to retrieve it. It made every battle a sacred duty. Narrator, you must give your task a standard, an eagle. You are not just finishing a report, you are defending your standard of professionalism. You are not just going to the gym, you are honoring the commitment you made to your own health. Frame the battle in terms of identity, of honor. When you procrastinate, you are not just delaying a task. You are letting your eagle fall into the mud. Pick it up. The Centurion roars an unintelligible command. In perfect unison, the front line of the legion slams their shields together, forming the impenetrable testudo *, the tortoise formation, SFX, a deafening series of clank-thud sounds. Narrator, one successful launch does not make a productive day. But a series of them, locked together, makes you unstoppable. This is the shield lock. Once you complete one 56-second launch and work for a set period, say, 25 minutes, you don't just stop. You launch again. An animated graphic shows blocks of time locking into place, like the shields of the testudo. To narrator, give the next command. Put on the helmet. Begin the march. The first strike of the next task is the shield locking with the one beside it. This is how you turn a single moment of action into a full day of disciplined advance. Your focus becomes a solid wall. Nothing gets through. Final montage, the Legionnaire, his face grim with determination, now part of the massive, slowly advancing shield wall. The person at the modern desk, in a flow state, moving from one task to the next seamlessly. They finish the emails, and without pausing, immediately begin the 56-second launch for the spreadsheet. Narrator, stop waiting for inspiration. Stop negotiating with the traitor in your head. The feeling of motivation isn't the cause of action. It is the result of it. The reward your brain gives you for having the discipline to move without it. You have your protocol. You have your weapons. The war horn has sounded. The screen goes black. For a moment, there is only the sound of a steady, rhythmic marching, thousands of feet hitting the earth in perfect, unstoppable unison. Fade in from black. The lone legionnaire is now leaning on his shovel, breathing heavily. The camp wall is half built. He looks exhausted. On the split screen, the person at the desk slumps in their chair, staring at the screen. The initial momentum clearly gone. Narrator, but what happens when the legion is exhausted? When the discipline wavers and the body aches? What happens when you follow the protocol? You win the first engagement, but the war feels endless. The Romans had a protocol for that, too, because a legion was never one man. It was a system of men. The shot widens on the Roman camp. Another legionnaire appears, wordlessly handing the first one a water skin. He claps him once on the shoulder, then picks up his own shovel and begins to dig beside him. There is no conversation, only shared work. Narrator, the smallest unit in the legion was the Contubernium *, 8 men who shared a tent, a cooking pot, and a mule. They marched together, fought together, and dug together. If one man's shield dipped, the man next to him was exposed. To fail was not a personal weakness, it was a betrayal of your brothers. Narrator, your willpower is finite, but your social obligation is a deep well. When your own discipline fails, borrow it from others. This is your accountability squad. Before you give the command, send a single text message. I am starting the presentation now. I will send you the first draft in 1 hour. Now, the battle is no longer just against a task. It's against the shame of letting your brother down. You're fighting for someone else's honor as much as your own. Narrator, there is another side to this, a darker truth the Romans understood better than anyone. Why did they build the camp every night, without fail? Why did they hold the line against impossible odds? Because they knew the price of failure was not just defeat. It was annihilation. The scene shifts. A somber, gray dawn. A Roman centurion is walking down a line of assembled legionnaires. Their faces are grim. He is not looking at them with anger, but with a heavy sense of duty. One man is pulled from the line. Narrator: the Romans practiced decimation, a punishment for cowardice, where a cohort would be forced to stone one of its own. It was brutal, horrifying, and ruthlessly effective. It made the terror of the enemy seem insignificant compared to the consequence of their own inaction. You must do the same. Narrator: your brain procrastinates because the pain of the task feels immediate, and the pain of not doing it feels distant and vague. You must reverse this. Make the cost of inaction real, visceral, and immediate. If you fail to do the workout, you must donate money to a political cause you despise. If you fail to make the sales call, you must confess it to your Contubernium. Define a consequence so unpleasant that the task becomes a welcome escape from it. You are not motivating yourself with a reward. You are driving yourself forward with a consequence you cannot bear. Cut to a sweeping shot of a completed Roman road, perfectly straight, stretching to the horizon. A legion marches along it, their pace swift and efficient. Narrator: these daily battles, the launches, the shield locks, they can feel disconnected, but they are not. Every successful strike is a stone. And you are not just laying stones. You are building a road. The Romans dominated the world not just with their armies, but with their infrastructure. They built 50 miles of paved roads, connecting the empire, allowing their legions to move faster, their supplies to be more secure. On the modern side of the screen, an animation shows a chain being built, link by link. Each link is a completed task. The chain grows longer and stronger with each successful action. Narrator: your habits are your highway. Every time you successfully use the Legionnaire's launch, you are paving that road. You are making it easier and faster for the next day's march. The first time, it's a dirt path. The 100th time, it is a stone superhighway straight to your objective. Procrastination is the act of trying to hack a new path through a dense forest every single day. Discipline is the act of building a road, so the journey becomes inevitable. Final scene. The Legionnaire stands on the completed wall of the camp as the sun rises. He is cleaning his gladius. In the valley below, the enemy army is now visible, a massive, chaotic horde, but inside the fortress, there is calm, order, preparation. Narrator: look at them. The battle is now certain. But the Legionnaire is not afraid. He is not frantic. The digging is done. The walls are up. The weapons are sharp. The victory was decided hours ago, in the dirt and the sweat, long before the first arrow flies. This is the final secret. The modern person closes their laptop. The spreadsheet is done. The report is sent. The desk is clear. They lean back, not with relief, but with a quiet, confident satisfaction. The war of the day is over. Narrator: you will win or lose your day in the first 5 minutes. Not by frantically working, but by preparing to work, by fortifying your camp, by giving the command, by building your road. The chaos is out there. It will always be there. But in here, in your space, in your mind, you can forge an indestructible Roman calm. Narrator: the enemy is at the gate. The question is not whether you are motivated. The question is whether you have followed protocol. Fade in from black. It is the next morning. The same modern desk, the same person. They sit down with a cup of coffee, but the confidence from the day before is gone. They look at their new to-do list with a familiar sense of dread. On the split screen, the Legionnaire is standing sentry duty on the camp wall in the dead of night. All is quiet, but his posture is tense, alert. Narrator: you won yesterday's battle. You followed the protocol and you took the ground. But the enemy never sleeps. And this morning, you can hear him whispering at the gate again. Narrator: this is the voice of the scout, the infiltrator. sent to test your defenses before the main assault begins. It probes for a weakness, a crack in your discipline. If you allow it inside the walls, it will open the gates for the entire barbarian horde of procrastination to follow. The Romans had a protocol for this. 2. Legionnaire, sta, quis est, narrator. You do not ignore the voice. You do not argue with it. You challenge it. You halt it and demand its identity. When your brain whispers, "I'm too tired," you do not debate the statement. You challenge its authority. You stop, take a breath, and you say, out loud if you must, you are the voice of resistance. You are not the commander here. The commander has already given the order. You expose the thought for what it is, not a statement of fact, but an act of sedition. The simple act of identifying the thought strips it of its power. The scout retreats back into the shadows. The person at the desk physically shakes their head, as if to clear it. They look at their to-do list and audibly whisper, "That's resistance." Not reality. They then begin the 56-second launch. Narrator, but what if the scout is telling a half-truth? What if you are tired? What if your resources are low, and your will to fight is genuinely fading? A foolish commander would force a tired legion into a meat grinder. A wise one checks his logistics. Cut to a shot of the Roman baggage train, the Asterisk Impedimenta. Hundreds of mules and wagons carrying grain, tools, tents, and spare weapons. It is the unglamorous, essential backbone of the entire army. Narrator, a legion did not march on courage alone. It marched on wheat, water, and well-maintained leather. A legion without its supply line was a dead legion. Your brain is no different. Your ability to fight procrastination is directly tied to your physical resources. Sleep, nutrition, hydration. These are not indulgences. They are military assets. Narrator, to continuously enter battle while sleep-deprived and poorly fueled is not discipline, it is a recipe for slaughter. Sometimes, the most strategic action is not to launch another attack, but to make a strategic retreat to the supply train. Before you attempt a difficult task, perform a simple logistical check. Have you had water in the last hour? Have you eaten? Did you get more than 6 hours of sleep? If the answer is no, your first command is not write the report, it is drink 1 glass of water or eat a piece of fruit. Fortify yourself first. A 5-minute logistical pause can provide hours of combat effectiveness. The scene shifts. The great campaign is over. The legion, victorious, is marching through the streets of Rome. Crowds are cheering, throwing flowers. This is the Roman triumph, the highest honor a general could receive. Narrator, the Romans understood a critical truth about human psychology. A life of nothing but marching, digging, and fighting is unsustainable. Without reward, without glory, the spirit breaks. After a victorious campaign, they held a triumph, a massive, public celebration of the victory. It wasn't just a party. It was a neurological necessity. It connected the suffering of the campaign to the glory of the reward, ensuring that men would be willing to do it all over again. Narrator, you must do the same. When you complete a task you've been procrastinating on, when you win the battle, you must mark the victory. Do not just immediately march on to the next objective. That is how you burn out. Your triumph doesn't have to be a parade, but it must be deliberate. Finish the report. Stand up, walk away from the desk, and listen to one triumphant piece of music. Clear your inbox. Take 5 minutes to drink your coffee and look out the window. Doing nothing. Complete a week of workouts? That is worthy of a larger triumph. Order your favorite food. Watch a movie. The rule is simple. The brain that fights must also be the brain that feasts. This creates a powerful feedback loop. It learns that discipline is not an endless, joyless march. It is the road to glory. The modern person closes their laptop on a finished project. Instead of checking their phone, they stand up, walk to a record player, and put on an album. They sit in a comfortable chair, close their eyes, and just listen. A look of profound, earned satisfaction on their face. Narrator, the Centurion's Command. The helmet. The march. The first strike. These are your weapons, fortifying your camp, Calibrating your catapult. Honoring your eagle, these are your strategies. The Contubernium. Decimation. The sentry's challenge, these are your defenses. The road. The supply line. The triumph, these are the pillars of your empire. This is the system. Final shot. An old, grizzled legionnaire, now a veteran, stands on a hill overlooking a peaceful valley. His face is scarred. He isn't in armor anymore. He looks strong, calm, and resilient. He is a survivor. The modern person, at the end of their week, looks at their empty to-do list. They don't look exhausted. They look capable. Ready, narrator. The goal is not to become a machine, incapable of laziness or fear. The goal is to become a veteran, to understand that the war with yourself is never truly over. There will always be another battle, another dawn, another moment of hesitation. But now, you have the training, you bear the scars of victories past. You know the protocols. And you know that the enemy in your mind, for all its noise and terror, is a predictable coward. It fears a system. It fears a trigger. And it will always break and flee before a disciplined advance. Disciplina, virtus, gloria.